Welcome to another episode of Casual Cinephilia, where enthusiastic amateurs talk very passionately about movies. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today we are talking about WW84, or Wonder Woman 1984.
So,
I've heard both ways as exclusively correct.
Yeah, I have as well. I just always was in the mindset that it was just Wonder Woman 1984.
Me
but,
too.
You know,
because, WW84 is an abbreviation for Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, just like Batman versus Superman was abbreviated BVS. Like, it just is an abbreviation. Anyways. I struggled with this movie.
I enjoyed it, but it is not without many problems.
Yeah. So let me just put this out there. First and foremost, I thought Gal Gadot did a great job again as Wonder Woman. I think she has kind of become this generation's Linda Carter. Like, she is Wonder Woman to me.
Sure.
Like, that's just, she just personifies the character, I think, perfectly. And I also want to say that I absolutely loved Paige.
Oh.
My
You okay there?
My throat just stopped working. Goodness gracious.
Oh, no.
I also want to say that Pedro Pascal, I really enjoyed his character. It was a interesting take on a villain.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, he kind of played like an oil baron-ish, down on his luck, and just like, it led to villainy, but like it wasn't like, whoa, I want to be a villain kind of thing. And so I thought it was an interesting character, and I love Pedro Pascal. Like, I just love that actor. So it made it easier for me to like the character. Right. That being said, I really did not like this movie. Tonally, it felt off to me. And the plot holes, I mean, you could, if you fell into one, you might find oil. There's some massive plot holes in this movie.
Here's what I thought. I had a good time watching it, but the more time I spend thinking about it, the more problems there obviously are.
Right. This is definitely a turn your brain off, eat some popcorn, watch a flashy superhero movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
And
there are moments that I enjoyed in it. There are moments that I didn't enjoy even while having fun. Like, I don't know if I could have disliked more the way they brought, what's his name, Steve?
Oh my god, yeah.
How they brought in another dude's body. There are so many moral questions that brings up.
Yeah.
That just totally glossed over, which is, like, insane, because why go through the effort of casting another actor, making this a whole point of the film, and then not bringing up any of the horrifying moral questions of, I don't know, just to throw one off the top of my head, consent?
Yeah.
That is present in that dilemma. It could have been a plot point. That could have been a whole moral quandary. It would make sense for a character like Wonder Woman to have that quandary. But they didn't touch it, so why go through the effort of doing it in the first place? Because it was creepy. Okay. It would have made just as much sense for him to show back up.
Yeah. So I'm going to go into script writing 101.
Oh, like spoilers also?
Oh, yeah, spoilers.
Whoops.
Oops. But script writing 101, for any aspiring writers out there, there is one fundamental rule that all script writers need to follow. Like, this isn't a bend or break rule. You need to follow this or your script will fall apart. You have to establish rules of your universe. Mm-hmm. And whether they're completely outlandish rules or not, if you establish them, you have to follow them.
Right.
You know, like in Star Wars, one of the rules is that there's sound in space. You follow that rule. Like, it doesn't make any scientific sense. It doesn't work in real life, but they established it, and so they have to follow it. Like, that.
Sure.
That's an established rule in Star Wars. They did not follow any of the established rules that they establish in the first act of Wonder Woman. Like,
Sure.
and they just make up rules as they're going along. Like the thing that your comment about Steve's character, what's his name? Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that him coming back is a workaround. So he comes back, but it has to be in someone else's body. Okay, so you've established the rule that you can't make something out of nothing. It has to be something, and then it can be converted into something else. But then they build an entire wall around a Middle Eastern country out of nothing?
Sure.
And gold just appears, and oil just appears, and nukes just appear
Right.
out of nothing. And so it's like, you have to follow the rules. I will suspend all of my disbelief watching superhero movies. I mean,
Right.
one of the biggest ones is, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I can suspend all of my disbelief watching that. There's talking raccoons and talking trees, but they have established rules that they follow, which makes it so much easier for me to suspend my disbelief. Every new wish that happened in this movie made me question it, because they changed the rules every time. And I think that's why I dislike this movie so much, is whether it was done in reshoots or rewrites or what, rules were broken. Their own established rules were broken.
It just... And like I said, I enjoyed the movie still when I was watching it. I haven't rewatched it. I'm sure I won't enjoy it as much the second time, having thought about it, which is unfortunate, because I do like the concept that they went with. I think could have been a really cool movie.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. No doubt.
But it was a really, really sloppy script.
Yeah.
Which is like, can you imagine what this movie could have been with the cast they had? I enjoyed every actress and actor in this movie.
Yeah.
Had they been written well, they would have been incredible.
No, this cast is amazing. I mean, Chris Pine is phenomenal. Pedro Pascal is amazing. Gal Gadot, I mean, she's awesome. Kristen Wiig, Robin Wright, like, it's a incredibly talented cast.
Could have been for this movie.
Yes.
They just, and they did everything they possibly could with what they were given. And I think the fact that I enjoyed it while I was watching it is a testament to their skill. 100% and solely.
No, I think I enjoyed the first act.
Yeah.
And I think that's solely because of the actors in this.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the monkey paw stuff starts filling in, that's when I lost it. I lost all interest in it, and it just became a 2.5-hour slog.
Yeah, it was also too long.
Yeah. It was a 90-minute movie over 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
The
poor freaking son character. I mean, he was a prop.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because they could have brought more depth to the villain, which they were relying on having at the end. And listen, here's the trick they played. I already associate Pedro Pascal as an unconventional but loving father, but not because of this movie. They didn't do anything to earn that. So they used my emotion toward the actor from The Mandalorian to make the finale of their movie work in any way at all.
Yeah.
Which is cheating, and doesn't make sense, because obviously not everyone watching this movie will have that association.
No, yeah. So, Lorian, maybe you can answer this question for me. I've only watched this movie once. I only want to watch it once.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a question that's been gnawing at me. And maybe you might have some insight into it.
Excited?
Why was this set in the 80s?
That's a good question. There's no reason for it.
There was absolutely
Catchy
no.
title.
Well, and I think because I think COVID fucked it up. I think this was trying to cash in on the 80s
Oh, definitely.
push in the early 2000s, and that or 2000s, God, 2020, early 2020. You know, Stranger Things had just had its fourth season or whatever.
Right.
Synthwave had come back huge. Like 80s was in its prime in the early 2020, in early 2020, and then COVID happened, and this movie got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
And nobody wants to think of 1984 when they're living through a global pandemic.
Yeah, and also like massive mass surveillance and Big Brother issues.
Exactly.
And
Well, that's what I meant by 1984. I meant
Yeah.
the book.
no, yeah.
It was just, I don't even know that I agree with you that the 80s were still going strong in 2020. I feel like they wrote this when the 80s were going strong in what I would say was like 2017 was the height of the 1980s thing.
And
They must have
I think you're right.
then. They must have gotten their financial approval as soon as the first one was done. They have a script. It's set in the 80s. What a windfall. This is going to be so easy to make money on. And then production took longer than they were planning. I'm not misremembering that, am I?
No,
This was delayed in production.
Yeah, it was delayed in production, and then COVID hit,
And
and then it was delayed in release.
So it was like a year and a half, 2 years later than they wanted to release it. By their release date, the 80s thing was starting to fade out. It was still there. And then by the time it came out, it was just like, who's making 80s stuff anymore?
Yeah. So has kind of non sequitur, but kind of a sequitur. I don't know if sequitur is even a word. Is it just
Great.
non sequitur?
I
I don't even know. Either way. So has DC or Warner Brothers just given up on the shared universe? Because
I believe they made a conscious decision to ditch the shared universe.
Okay, because like this fits nowhere in that.
Nowhere.
Because
I think that they literally were like, this isn't working. We have to stop.
yeah. Like I knew they were doing that with like, Joker and their other the new Robert Pattinson Batman. Like I knew those
I
were
think it's like their studio plan moving forward to not unify the characters.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was going to say like they didn't wipe the memory of anyone. Like
No.
the people at the
should
end of this
remember
movie
this event.
remembered it. And so
Bruce Wayne should remember this event.
yeah, and also the fact that Wonder Woman was, running around saving everyone and doing things in the open, and in Batman vs Superman he has to dig in the files, and the only recorded thing of her is in World War One.
Right.
A lot of double W's, WW or World War One, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so okay, so they've just given up on the shared universe.
I think so.
Okay, that makes
It's going to be a lot less exhausting in the future.
yeah. It makes more sense. It's still weird having the same characters with the same backstory and the same characters from the prequel, or not the prequel, but the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is technically connected to Batman versus Superman, but the sequel's not connected. So that's going to be confusing. But again, I don't intend to come back to this movie to watch it. I did not like this movie at all, which is a shame because I really liked the first Wonder Woman.
I'm not going to rewatch it because I did like this movie, but I know I won't if I do watch it again.
Gotcha. I mean, that's a fair
I like
point.
to preserve my memory of my first watching of it and not pick up on all of the plot problems while watching it.
Well, speaking of plot problems, I'm going to continue to berate this movie. I apologize. I really enjoyed Kristen Wiig's portrayal of Barbara Minerva all the way up until they turned her into an extra on the movie Cats.
Mm-hmm.
What was that all about?
There was once again, that could have been cool. It could have been a thing, but they threw it away in like a half a sentence of bad script writing and never really gave it any attention or explanation. So it was just something that clearly cost more than they were anticipating because they did all the CGI in the dark where you couldn't see it, so it must have been real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I just... Why? They could have still had a fight. She was already a Wonder Woman-esque person.
Yeah.
She didn't have to be a Skimbleshanks too.
Skimbleshanks too. It made no sense to me. And going back to script writing 101, how come she got 2 wishes? No one else got 2 wishes. It only worked once for literally everyone except for her.
There was a workaround in that. I remember being like, what? And then there was a workaround. It wasn't a strong workaround, and I don't remember what it was, and I never will because I'm not going to watch it again.
Was it because she wished on the stone and then it turned into Pedro?
It was like he threw it out there to have others wish for her or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. But
I remember that.
Twist around.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
No, I remember that now. So that's right, because he was like, okay, I take your aggression and give it to her, and I take your whatever and give it to her. So that turns you into a cat?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would listen, more than the butthole cut.
She went full Rum Tum Tugger on us.
More than I want the butthole cut of cats, I would like somebody to intercut all of the footage of her as a cat into cats somewhere. Just make it work, guys. I'm sure there's a way. She'd be great as one of McCavity's crew.
I forgot that there's a butthole cut. They actually characters with buttholes. Oh my god, what has cinema become? Oh my god.
You can't judge all of cinema on the fact that there have been 2 movies within a year and a half of each other that had humanized cat monsters in it.
Try and stop me. Oh man.
Ugh.
Yeah, this I honestly can't recommend this movie.
I wish someone out there with really good editing skills, maybe they could make something of this. I wish that existed.
Yeah, I mean,
I really want to like this movie, and I have memories of good parts of this movie that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I want that movie to exist.
Well,
the ones where I've edited out the extra.
It might. We might have a Zack Snyder effect on this thing. Because apparently Patty Jenkins did not like how the movie was released. Whether that was straight to HBO or whatever, or if it was like the editing or something. But I know that there was drama.
So maybe we'll get the Patty Jenkins cut?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
So I'm looking at I'm looking at the IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And I already see the issue here. Just looking at the writing credits.
Uh-oh.
So the story by is by Patty Jenkins and Jeff Johns, which I think they did the first movie. But then the screenplay was by Patty Jenkins, Jeff Johns, Dave Callahan, William Moulton Marston. There was a whole bunch of people other than those two. And so that makes me, I think it was a death by committee, or rewrites were brought in. Right. Maybe after it, which is never good for
Yeah.
a script. I mean, I don't want to say never good. Historically, it has not been good for scripts.
Sure.
I wanted this movie to be good. Oh, and then the gold armor. The gold armor.
Yeah, that was a really throwaway.
That was entirely put into the movie to be put into the trailers.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, these wings could defend against every army in the world, except unless they've got a hybrid cat woman who's going to shred it in 15 seconds.
And once again, I think that could have worked with this movie if they had planted the seed of it in the opening where they were back on Themyscira instead of just like randomly in the middle. It was brought up very quickly in the middle of total nonsense.
Yeah.
It was literally found in a corner and pulled into the story.
Yeah, in the corner of her office.
I don't know how much lazier you can get on that one. But if they had worked that in to the fabric of the story somehow, it could have been a cool moment.
Yeah.
But it was found in a corner, put on, and then immediately destroyed. So...
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense.
Did you watch the end credit scene?
Yeah, where it showed...
I liked that.
Yeah, with Linda Carter.
That was nice.
That was great. I thought that was awesome.
That might have been the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
It was fun. It had a little fan service in there. It had subtle world building. It was... The imagery of the gold armor is cool. It belongs on posters and in trailers. But it needs to be worked into the story.
Yeah. And I know we had that long conversation already about how this is no longer part of the DC EU or whatever, DC universe. But she learned to fly.
Yes.
And she can't fly in Batman vs. Superman or Justice League. And she also turned a jet invisible. And she can't do that.
Again.
Oh yeah, and where did they park the jet? Like, and then...
Listen, it's funny. It's funny to bring in Wonder Woman's invisible jet. That is a notoriously bizarre thing that Wonder Woman has. It could have been a part of the story if they had written it in any other scene than the one that it is made in and is never mentioned again.
I also like that Steve Trevor also knows how to fly a modern jet.
A modern jet.
When the last thing he flew was a World War I scout plane that was made out of balsa wood and fabric.
Hasn't advanced that much. It's fine.
When the plane that he originally learned to fly in was fly-by-wire because the controls were literally connected by a nylon wire. I think it means slightly different things with the plane made in 1980s.
No, it's the same.
Oh my God.
Don't you know jets are still operated by nylon wires?
There are so many things wrong with this movie. And I think that's what's most frustrating. Is that you are 100% right in that this could have been a great movie. Like this has the puzzle pieces for a great movie.
It's like a collection of unconnected scenes from a great movie with nothing joining them together and then a bunch of extra crap thrown in.
Yeah. Yeah. So frustrating. I wonder if there will be another Wonder Woman.
God, I mean, it would be such a shame to have this tank it. The first one was so much fun. The character is so good. Marvel's not giving us anything for female-led superhero stuff. I mean, I guess that they are, but they haven't yet.
Yeah.
So, like, don't let this tank Wonder Woman.
Apparently Wonder Woman hit 16.7 million at domestic box office, which is minuscule. But I mean, it was only at 2,100 locations.
Right.
So
Really
you can't
fair
you
to
can't
have
even
to
judge
be
anymore.
No.
How much did HBO pay for it? Doesn't even say. I mean,
It's a mystery.
with any movie released this year, how are we going to be able to tell box office? Like with like Soul, like that we watched last episode. Like, how do you judge whether it was a success? Do you judge based off of new downloads of Disney Plus? Because there's literally no monetary figure that you can put to that, right?
I mean, I don't know. It's a weird year for everything.
Huh. So I'm looking at IMDb and there's some goofs that they've got in there.
Uh-oh.
This one's great. At the gala, the song Welcome to the Pleasure Drome by Frankie Goes to Hollywood is played. This song was released on October 29th, 1984. However, the gala takes place before they travel to Egypt on the 4th of July, almost 4 months before the release of the album.
Naturally.
I mean, to be fair, I'll give them a pass for at least having the song that came out in that year in there. Well, that's kind of funny that someone picked that out. I don't even have much more to say about this. I'm saddened that it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be.
I mean, it's kind of impossible at this point, if you've listened this far in the episode. But if you want to just turn your brain off and not pay attention and watch it, it might be fun. Yeah. I don't think you can do that anymore, sadly, having listened to this whole thing. I think you're gonna notice the problems now that you've heard them. So we've ruined this movie for everyone listening. Sorry.
So what I want to say is if you're in the mood for a well-filmed, well-written, female heroine lead comic book movie or show, go watch WandaVision. It is great.
But maybe not yet.
I don't know. I'm loving it so far.
Watch it all on March 5th.
Maybe.
I think I might wait. I think I might wait to binge it all at this point.
So I won't say anything. Like plot-wise or spoiler-wise. But I've watched the first 2 episodes that they've released. Oh, you have? Okay. So you're going to hold off from now on
until... It's an educated choice.
Gotcha.
It just feels, having watched those 2 episodes, it just feels like I'll enjoy it more if I binge it.
So what I've heard, and this goes for Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well, is that it is a Marvel movie chopped up into segments. Now it's written and designed to be episodic. But
clearly.
But they put the funding and they put the effort and time into it essentially being an MCU film.
Totally shows. It's so well made.
Yeah, and so I think you might be in the right thought to wait till it all comes out so that you can see it all sequentially, because each episode's going to lead into the next.
Right. It feels, if they keep going with the pattern they're doing now, it's going to be a decade an episode. And I know old television, and they're doing old television.
Yeah,
the visuals, the weird film effects, the pacing.
I
don't.
They get it. They get it so right.
I think I just need to binge it all. Because, watching an episode of The Andy Griffith Show and then watching an episode of Bewitched, I just don't want to watch it that way. It's so slow at the beginning. Because television was slow at the beginning. It's brilliantly done. It should be slow at the beginning, but it should have been released in one chunk so that you could keep watching through the slow.
Yeah, I agree, but I am in the camp of I am so excited for next episode because these last two have been such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
That it's giving me something I'm excited. It's giving me something to look forward to at the end of the week. Like, I'm looking forward to sitting down with my wife and watching it. Like, this is our show. We're like, we literally sat in silence for like 5 minutes after the last two episodes, and then just geeked out trying to nitpick all the little details that we could find. And so, yes, I would much rather have it all in one sitting so that I could just chew it all up. But having this weekly release, it gives me something to look forward to.
Sure.
So
it's a communal experience. I watch it at work.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me whether I'm watching 2 episodes or 9.
Yeah. So
I don't,
I knew it was going to be kind of a mindfuck. Like, I knew that going in.
Just the trailers alone.
Yeah. But at first, like when they were all being announced, I was much more looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But now that WandaVision's going on, not only am I super hyped for the episodes coming out, but now I'm really excited for the next Spider-Man, so Spider-Man 3, where they're going to start going into the multiverse, and then Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, this show is getting me super hyped for the next Doctor Strange movie. Because Wanda's going to be playing a big part in that movie, apparently. So, I am stoked. Marvel, I think bless you, by the way, bless you. I think having a year off of Marvel was probably the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, it was an accident, but it worked well for them.
Yeah. As much as droughts suck for media and content, I think I needed a breather from the Marvel freight train. But going back to Wonder Woman, after our little jaunt into the MCU, Wonder Woman was kind of my hope that DC would get their act together with their live action stuff, because I really want DC to be good so that Marvel is competition. Sorry, I'm just hearing my wife I'm hearing Rachel downstairs just, what's the word? A word up. I think she's singing to the dog.
Hooray.
This is great. Anyways, competition is good. And when DC is succeeding, it pushes Marvel to be better, to improvise, to adapt, to overcome. And right now, they don't have any competition, really. Like, there's no one in their field. Like, DC's got some good stuff. Like, Joker, though it made me feel dirty, was a phenomenal movie. And I'm really looking forward to Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like, that looks fascinating to me. But they're in a different genre than the MCU.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Like, I don't want Marvel to get lazy because they're the only kids playing on the block again.
Sure.
So I hope I hope DC can get their act together and start getting good superhero movies again. Because this one was rough for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did not like it at all. And I've said that multiple times now, but yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts about Wonder Woman 1984?
No, not
No.
really.
I feel like we did a pretty good job talking about it.
Okay.
We might actually be getting kind of good at this podcast thing. Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows? Or not.
You seem very confident today.
I took a nap earlier. I'm full of
nice.
joy in life.
That's good.
So, do we want to talk about our next movie?
Yep. It's another weird one, release-wise. We're talking about Tenet. We wanted to do this approximately a full year ago, and now I'm already a little tired.
Yeah. It was supposed to be the savior of cinema.
Right.
And then it only came out in a handful of theaters. And now I'm going to have to rent it on YouTube. Neither have I.
To be fair, I'm not tired about the movie itself. I'm tired about planning to do a Tenet episode. Because I've already planned to do a Tenet episode like 7 times.
Yeah, it was supposed to release at least 7 times in the last year. There is one thing that I've heard about it. Mm-hmm. I've tried to stay as clear from anything from it. I don't want anything like. If there's anything I've learned from Christopher Nolan movies is that I want to go in completely blind on it. Like, I don't want to know anything.
Right.
But one criticism that I've heard is that some of the dialogue is difficult to hear. And
I've heard that as well.
And that subtitles are kind of a must in certain scenes.
I watch everything with subtitles anyway.
Well, then you're set.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
It's convenient for me.
Not for me, though. I'm going to have subtitles.
Haha.
Yeah. That's why I struggle with foreign films. Because there's some really good ones. I just focus on the words at the bottom of the screen and miss what's going on in the actual show.
Sure.
Not that it's bad or anything. It's the way my brain is. Like, if words are on the screen, I have to read it.
I've gotten used to subtitles. I've been working nights for 7 years, so I keep all my media very quiet. So I have learned the art of watching with subtitles.
Well, there you go. It's fancy.
The way to go.
The way to go.
Unless it's, like, poorly formatted and blocking stuff on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
But usually that's...
I don't mind it when it's like letterboxed underneath the 16:9.
Sure.
That's well done. But whatever. Anyways, Tenet's going to be our next film.
Tenet.
So look forward to that in our next episode.
Unless it's not. We have never got as far as announcing it before, but we have planned it literally so many times. So I guess I don't quite believe that Tenet's actually going to be our next episode yet. But it probably will be, guys. There's no actual barrier in the way this time that I can think of, but Godzilla might destroy the server it's saved on or some shit like that.
Suddenly pulled from all streaming services.
Right. Anything can happen.
I mean, 2021's been a rough start already, so you never know. Well, anyways, let's thank our patrons, Jenny, Jake, Pam, and Graham. You guys are awesome. You make all of this possible. Thank you.
Yay.
And with that, this has been another episode of Casual Cinephilia. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.